job, decimated in recent decades. And this isn't just an opinion, it is provable. In fact, Apple just paid $25 million to settle a lawsuit for favoring foreign hires like this and making it so hard for U.S. workers to apply for their jobs that few or none did for those certain jobs. They don't even want to look at an American candidate. They don't want to pay somebody twice as much and have no control over them. Facebook paying $14 million in a separate suit for that same behavior. This is happening in a lot of places. A lot of corporations. It expands far beyond just the tech sector. It goes all through big business in this country. Thousands of these visas every single year, thousands of jobs that in a lot of cases Americans should have that they're not getting. Ian Haworth is a syndicated columnist, and he joins us now along with Rob Schmitt from Turning Point. And good to see you both tonight. Ian, you came here on an H-1B visa, which is super interesting, but you have a very interesting position on them. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Rob.
Yeah.
I came here on an H-1B visa to work in tech quite a few years ago now, over 10 years ago. And the problem I find with H-1B, but also most immigration, when we talk about bringing the talent in, it's really all about cost. People love to talk about culture. I think what Vivek Ramaswamy said about America being mediocre is absolutely appalling, because there's a reason people are flooding from China and India to America and not the other way around. America is not mediocre. America is exceptional. And I think we should have some of these programs to get the cream of the crop, as people always say, but we're not getting the cream of the crop. What we're getting is people who are willing to work for far less. They get here and then they're locked into these companies, essentially kept there and manipulated and taken advantage of. I think we can have a very sensible conversation about getting the best of the best, but we're not getting the best of the best. What we're doing is replacing American workers who have the same level of talent, if not more, for someone who's going to be paid 20, 30, 40% less. It's absolutely appalling.
Yeah, it's a great point. Rob, go ahead.
Yeah, well, you know, as a veteran, I kind of took the issue back to what's going on with our veterans and our VA healthcare. I'm somebody that uses VA healthcare, and I really brought up the point that there are so many positions, even within the VA healthcare system, that are being filled by multiple, visas. One of them being the H-1B visas, to where I'm seeing doctors, I'm seeing staff, I'm seeing all these kinds of people who literally English is not the first language. These people are coming from other countries, and it really does affect the quality of care, not only that I have received, but that many veterans have received. And furthermore, even outside the veteran thing, you see a lot of these people hiring for H-1B visas. I've seen all kinds of stuff on Twitter today. I'm sure you both have as well. We've seen, low-level cashier work being hired via H-1B. I believe that even our friends Chippendales, the Chippendales dancers at Las Vegas, seriously, somebody tweeted this out. They're hiring dancers via H-1B visas. So excuse me and pardon me with the idea that this is just about getting the most talented and brightest engineers from all over the world. And the last point that I will make is that 72% of these H-1B visas are coming from one country, and that is India. And I don't think that it is racist or xenophobic to point that out. No. I think that is something that is worth very much digging into, because there's a lot of scamming that is going on within that, and there's a lot of dirty dealings going on in some of those networks.
Well, and Ian, the truth is there is a nuance to it. Before everybody just launches at Elon and Vivek on this, I think they got carried away in defending Krishnan. I don't think that was a defensible position that he had. But at the same time, there probably is a benefit to skimming the absolute cream off the top of all these other countries, bringing them here. But that stops at a very, very small point. The fact that there's tens of thousands of these visas, there's not that many people in the world that are that valuable to this country. You get very quickly to a point where you're now replacing Americans because it's cheaper. So that there's a small amount, and they have to figure out what that number is, that is valuable to the United States. And I don't know if that's 1,000 a year or 2,000 a year. It's certainly not 50 or 100,000 a year. But they have to find that number for the benefit, and then everything else should be cut, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, let's ask the broader question here, which if truly we need to go to India and China to find these engineers, then surely there's something wrong with our STEM education here. Yeah. The solution just should not be import people who might not have American values or want to assimilate or even speak English. I found this working in tech. There'd be conversations in the workplace where I was the only English speaker in the room. That is not normal. That is not American. That is not pro-Western. That is a problem. And again, it's not racist to say that. So I think if we're going to have a conversation about there not being talent, one, I think that's false. I think there are an absolute ton of talented American engineers. These companies just don't want to pay full whack for them. But if there is truly a shortage, then maybe we need to be asking why people are spending their time doing women's studies in college rather than STEM subjects. I think that's a conversation we'd be having too.
And Rob, education in this country is a huge lagging. I mean, I think that was another part of Vivek's statement that was accurate. Is that I think we've lived too well for too long, and we don't have the same gumption that I think. I mean, you look at education in China. These kids they work hard. You look at Indian families. They focus on education a lot more. They spank their kids and they tell them you better get good grades. You know, America lost that at some point.
Well, you know, some sectors of America did lose that, but I don't want us to become robots, and I also don't want us to talk too down on American culture. We are an exceptional country. We're filled with exceptional people. And what I do want to point out is this, you know, you bring up the education system. And so we're having these entire conversations, obviously Vivek and Elon heading up DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, which is supposed to lay waste to a lot of this government waste that's going on. And they talk a lot about the Department of Education as well. The great Linda McMahon is going to be taking that over. So I think that you're going to see a lot of cuts there, too, to just streamline things, because our Department of Education in our public school system is obviously not working for the vast majority of the students in this. This is something that I'm sure we've all been talking about for years. And it's very interesting seeing all of these things that are things that the MAGA movement, the American First movement, have been talking about for years. These are now starting to intersect. But now we have two people in Elon and Vivek that are in a very powerful position to make these reforms. And I believe, I hope and believe that they're both listening to the conversation that has been going on X. And I believe that they both are.
I think they are. And I think that's why this changed in the last 24 hours. It did change from where it was last night. And it was quite visible. Ian Haworth and Rob Schmitt, good to see you both. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
How many times did Joe Biden deny meeting Hunter Biden's business partners? How many times? We've got incredible new photos as the media on this story continues to humiliate itself.